Good morning, everybody. I don't reveal the title. I will give you first an introduction of wireless sensor networks, and more specifically on the subject of this work, then give you the system overview we developed for blood pressure monitoring, with some details on sensors, the system architecture, on the RFID interface, which is a fundamental part of our system, and then give you the laboratory characterization and preliminary in vivo measurements, and finally conclusions. So let me just recall a general concept. Advances in sensor technology, together with a continuous component miniaturization, the increase in power consumption, and the diffusion of wireless technology, permit the development of implantable smart sensor or wireless sensor networks for physiological parameters monitoring. Here I just put some examples. On the left, some animal implantable telemetry systems, you can see here, or some human implantable devices. We had a very nice talk this morning on that. I just show a deep brain stimulator for Parkinson patients, or an implantable cardioverter defibrillator, and this is to monitor the heart pressure, and this for abdominal aneurysm of the aortic pressure. Our work aim is to develop an implantable system to monitor blood pressure for laboratory rats, okay, in a continuous way with a wireless interface, and we were asked to develop something really low cost. Since we deal with small animals, the requirements are, of course, a small volume and lightweight. As concerns pressure, blood pressure, more or less the parameters are similar to human, but I just put this value about the heart rate of rats can be quite high, up to 400 BPM. So how we intended to face with this problem? We developed a system based on a catheter filled with a saline solution, which is implanted on one end into an artery, and on the other end is coupled to the electronics, which is placed, intended to be placed in a subcutaneous region under the skin. We developed embedded analysis in order to minimize the interaction between the human and the animal, to have reliable experiments. And the applications, of course, are the pharmaceutical research, drug safety assessment, but even we can imagine in the future for a human limit. So this is the overview of the system we developed. It's mainly composed by a PCB, dimension about 30 by 35 millimeters. This can be cut in two parts and configured as a multi-layer configuration with a maximum thickness of 11 millimeters. This brings to these values of volume and weight, comprising the battery, which more or less fulfill the requirements. And on this PCB, we have a neutral low power microcontroller, high efficiency voltage regulators. We provide the possibility to have two types of pressure sensor because we wanted to investigate one analog and one digital. You can see, okay, they are coupled to the catheter, which is inserted on the other end in the artery. And we have the dual interface EEPROM and the planar antenna you can see here. Okay, here I summarize some features of the sensors we use which are pretty similar, with the big difference that the one from General Electric is a digital one, so it's directly managed by the microcontroller, the E2C bus, and while the other one, the analog one, needs amplification and conversion. So what we did was to choose a microcontroller which embeds 3 op-amps, and with those op-amps and external resistor, we build up an instrumentation amplifier with more or less 40 dB gain and 10 kilohertz bandwidth. And then we acquire the output in the microcontroller ADC. Okay, as concerns the system architecture, we programmed the firmware of this platform in order to do pressure acquisitions for 5 seconds, which corresponds to a few cardiac cycles, and then to process this data in order to find the maximum, minimum, and the average pressure with the Todd Andrews algorithm. And here you can see the validation, or let's say, of the algorithm, manually varying the pressure of at the entrance of the sensor. You can see that all peaks are detected nice way. This algorithm is, let's say, immune to baseline wandering, which is an important feature. The results are written on the EEPROM, okay, and then the system go into a low power mode for 55 seconds. So as a result, we have, let's say, 1 measurement of the pressure every minute, okay, and this is the power consumption. When the platform is running, you can see more or less the current provided by the battery is about 8 milliamp, 9 milliamp for the analog version, let's say, of our platform. This milliamp difference is due to the ADC, which is used here in the microcontroller. While in low power mode, you can see that the current drops to 700 microamp, which is essentially due to the voltage regulators. And with this system, we are able to run for 3 days continuously with this miniaturized pattern. Let me now recall some concept about RFID. I focused attention on this frequency, that is the 13.56 megahertz. Why? Because this is globally available and only sensor, first of all, and also for other reasons. I will come to that. And 3 standards exist using this frequency. The principle is quite simple. It's magnetic induction between 2 loops antenna, nothing more than an air core transformer, and data are modulated on this frequency, and typically the data rate can be 26 kilobits per second, which is not so much, but since we decided to do the analysis embedded in the microcontroller, we just communicate the results, so it's fine. And the typical distance is less than 1 meter, let's say. Here, I just put some logo found on the web, because this technology is really thriving worldwide. And this is very important for sensors, because we can take components which have been developed for payment, for inventory, for access control, and so we can profit from the technology applying it on sensors. How? We choose, for example, this dual interface EEPROM, which provides the E2C interface, but also the RFID interface. The most important aspect is that when you plug an antenna on this EEPROM, okay, the power needed to run this EEPROM is provided from the RF, so externally. So from the point of view of the tag, okay, no power is needed during communication, which is, of course, attractive for implantable system. Moreover, this frequency is considered one of the best in terms of human exposure to electromagnetic field. The only worry of the designer is to design carefully the antenna, of course, because it must match a certain value. In our case, it should be 4.7 microhenry, and we succeeded in having, this is a measurement of the self-inductance of the antenna, is 4.6 microhenry at the frequency of interest. You can see also a self-resonance of the antenna due to the parasitic capacitance of the antenna. By using this external reader, we were able to communicate up to 11 centimeters distance, even interposing a hand or tissue equivalent material, which is good for our application. Now, laboratory characterization. What we did is to, in lab, to manually vary the pressure, and here the air is split to a reference manometer, digital manometer, and to our system, and they were acquired simultaneously. So here on the bottom you see the results. The marker are the reading from our system, and the solid line from the reference. This is analog sensor version of our platform. This is the digital sensor version. Of course, it's another set of measurement. And you can see there is a nice accordance, and we experienced a higher resolution for the digital sensor version. Okay, we wanted to come here having in hand some preliminary in vivo measurements. So last week we went to Mario Negri Institute. It's a pharmacological research institute in Italy. And what we did was to insert 2 catheters into the femoral arteries of a laboratory rat. One was a reference sensor given from Utah Medical Products, and the other was connected externally to our platform in order to validate, let's say, the system. And here you can see on the top 2 readings of the reference pressure sensor and simultaneous readings of our analog sensor version. And we can say that we were not able to see the pressure waves of the rat, maybe due to the manual filling of the catheter coupled to our system. And but at least we were able to follow the average pressure, and this is a promising result. So this is conclusion. We developed a miniaturized system able to monitor blood pressure. It is presently suitable for medium, large animals, but with minor effort can be miniaturized. For example, I just show here two available packages for the microcontroller. We are presently using this big one, so we can save a lot of space. And we will investigate also a thin antenna on top. We are working now on a biocompatible material for encapsulation and on a batteryless version. So these are my contacts, some picture of other wearable electronics we are working on, and I thank you very much for the attention.